Pre-show here at ransomizzo.com. All right, if you're watching on certain social media platforms, welcome. This is the Ransom Izzo pre-show. We are live in 1 minute, 25 seconds on all Spreely platforms. That's Spreely.tv, ransomizzo.com. And if you downloaded the Freedom Hub app for your smartphone, do it. It's Freedom Hub, all one word. We have a chat we monitor over at ransomizzo.com. If you want to join that, do that. Otherwise, I don't read the chats anywhere else. Sorry, guys. All right, kids, 15 seconds. See you at the Ransom Izzo show on Spreely Media.
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Ransom Izzo Show with your host, Dominick Izzo. From porn to politics, we touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
All right, kids, happy Friday. It's the Ransom Izzo show here on Spreely Media, Spreely.tv, and the ransomizzo.com, where you can say whatever the fuck you want, because we are a free speech network. Truly. Not like everybody else out there who's like, oh, we do free speech. And they say something, then they pull it back because their fucking sponsors are get a mini little hard-on for what they say. It's Friday. I got Joe, Amazing Bearded Wonder, joining again today. What is going on, dude?
What's up, my man? Happy Friday.
You too. Hey, first things first. So you were coming on, and, you know, you got your moniker, Amazing Bearded Wonder. And I'm like, I can't, this is an excuse, right? You can't see me, but I'm like, all right, I'm not going to steal the spotlight from him. And I want to go for a different look. So I trimmed the beard, and I kept the stash, and I look like, it looks like I should be blowing dudes behind a Milwaukee Dairy Queen dumpster for fucking cash, and my wife doesn't know about it. So I can no longer smoke cigars because it looks like I've got Jerome Bettis' cock in my mouth now. It sucks. But welcome. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, buddy. Wow. Apparently you've never known addiction until you've blown somebody behind a Milwaukee dumpster. Is that the look we're going for today?
There's nothing wrong with it there, is it?
Nah, I mean, you trying to look like Sean Whalen?
You beat me to it, right? It's like, first things first, let's get out of the way. Fuck Sean Whalen, and welcome to the show. For those who don't know, we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, Amazing Bearded Wonder. If you haven't followed him on social media, I mean, we're talking about some opinionated, good rants, right? Over the last several years, a lot of us, and myself included, that's how I started, we just picked up the camera, we started ranting, and for some strange reason, it gave us a voice to get our views out there, and people support us and whatnot. I want to know if you're experiencing anything that I'm experiencing lately. Is it fair to say you're conservative?
Fair to say. Yeah, that's pretty easy.
whenever you put your free thoughts out there for an audience who follow you, do you ever get people who are like really pissed off at your thoughts and they go, well, I was following you for this, so I'm unfollowing you now because of what you're saying? Have you had that fucking experience lately?
I get that all the time, and I've got that for years. So for those of you that are new, that don't know me, don't know who the fuck I am, I've been around on social media for a few years. I've had several million followers. I've lost 20 plus accounts on TikTok, been shadow banned like a motherfucker everywhere. So when somebody crawls into my comments or my DMs, and it's usually my comments because they don't, get into my DMs, and do I'm not following you anymore. Okay, motherfucker, I didn't know you were following me in the first goddamn place. I don't give two shits if you're following me. Take your ball and go home. Like, fuck off. I don't care.
I've seen this more and more with conservatives lately, and my thought was, and I did a rant on this the other day, where I can't remember what the hell I did. I put some. It was Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino, who, dude, I think he's literally going through something that has to do with chemo or cancer, and it's fucking his brain up. I'm going to give him that much credit because in the last several years of my mother's life, I didn't know this, but she was on prednisone, and prednisone made her into a fucking cunt. She was a horrible human being. And I'm like, who is this person? So the other day, for those who didn't know, as I was on Twitter and I see not Sean Whalen, he's a cunt too. I see, he's the other one who blocks, right? So Dan Bongino was attacking people like, oh, fuck you and your show. And this wasn't to me. This was other people. You're a piece of shit. So I'm like, dude, you got 5 million people following you on one platform alone. You're like a co-owner of Rumble. You should, there's no way, like a guy at my level, I could play in the dirt and the shit. You shouldn't be able to. And so I said, hey, I'm kind of losing respect for, if this is how your rhetoric is, block, instant fucking block. And I'm like, all right, really? My rule is I block people who, like, if they have an account that has like 0 and it has like a fake meme or for a picture, I block those people. Otherwise I unfollow and I ignore, or I will unfollow you for me if you get to the point where it's like, dude, I disagree with you and shit. Like I said this too, it's a shame, but I am Red Pill Rocky, dude. I fucking lost respect for him because he starts just shitting on me on my own comment section. I'm like, all right, bro, I don't need you, but great, go ahead, go. So my point is I think this is a epidemic of conservatives who we let, Daddy Trump is going to solve all this fucking problem now. And now we're going at the easiest target, which is our own, right? I'm going to shit all over fucking Joe and his amazing bearded content because I can, right? Because, and I think that's what we're doing. Do you see any parallel to that? Because we're too fucking afraid to go protest and riot like the left does. And now this is what we're doing, is eating our own?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And here's the way you look at it. The left is very calculated in what they do, right? They're organized. They don't go in half cocked. They get their numbers, they have an agenda, and they go. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, they will have each other's backs to the end of motherfucking time. The conservatives don't. You're worried about your own little world, your own little family, and that's it. And if my neighbor, who's my conservative homie, gets attacked, you shake your head and go, oh, that fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Look the other way. I'm worried about my world. Whereas if I was a rainbow Skittle shitting motherfucker and my neighbor got attacked, oh, you can bet damn well they'd be in the front yard throwing blows. Well, they wouldn't throw blows, but you know what I'm saying? Going at these motherfuckers because that's how they roll. They understand there's power in numbers. But these conservatives are so busy saying, look at these assholes on the left. They're offended by everything. They're soft. They're snowflakes. And then they turn around and they're offended by fucking everything. Mm-hmm. And then they block if you bring that up or you say something. And it's block, 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 block. That's the biggest bitch move in the history of the fucking internet. We all have an opinion. We all are entitled to our opinion. We get pissed when we get censored or blocked and bitch about it, but then we turn around and do the same thing. Like, You're a fucking liberal ass sheep parading as a conservative. Like, fuck off. You're just as sensitive as the rest of them. And if you're going to be a bitch, if you're going to come on the internet and you're going to put your opinion out there, right? And I say some shit that people agree with. I say some shit that people don't agree with. I say some shit that pisses off the liberals. I say some shit that pisses off the conservatives. I don't give a fuck. If you don't agree with me, cool. Tell me you don't agree with me. Run your mouth, do your thing. But I'm not going to block you. The only people I have blocked have been people who have made death threats to my kids multiple times. That's a different ballgame. You want to come up with my kids? We're going to have a fucking problem. Other than that, I ain't going to block you. Because the more you talk to me, the more you view my video, the more you share my video with your little crew and you comment, the higher I go on the algorithm, the more money it fucking makes me. Right. So please, by all means, keep talking shit.
You're Gen X, right?
Yeah.
I think there's two folds of this because we've been talking about this for a long time, which is our generation. We didn't grow up with internet, and you did. You had a rare type of person who, like, I don't know how to explain this. Every guy from our generation knows this. If I didn't like you, you didn't like me, and we couldn't fucking stand it just for whatever reason, personality conflicts alone, you can't articulate. I hate this motherfucker. You guys throw down. What happens the second we wind up getting in a brawl? Doesn't matter who wins, who loses. What happens?
You get done, you shake hands, and typically you end up being kind of homies after it.
That's it every single fucking time because it's a respect factor. I think that was so removed because we can't with the internet. You can't get that shit out of your system, right? I can't go up and go, well, Joe said this, fuck you, and Joe goes, hey, I heard you said fuck you behind my back. Then we go to blows, and it's like, dude, all right, and now we're gonna go join up together and attack this motherfucker. The problem too, I think, is that the internet also created a platform to where you got a camera, you got some editing software. I'm going to go take a BJJ class and put on some fucking blue line gear, and all of a sudden I'm an elite military Navy SEAL trainer kind of guy, and I'm a badass alpha. You should be following me. It created a bunch of false motherfuckers who have no idea what they're doing, and I don't know how we retain or we get back the integrity of, Joe, I got a problem with you. Great. You got a problem with me? All right, let's fucking duke it out. And then we move forward because the internet, you can't do that shit anymore.
No. And that's the thing. It's created an environment where the anonymity is so thick, you can say and do whatever, and you don't have to back up your comments. Whereas, when I was growing up, when you were growing up, I grew up in a little farm town in Idaho. I mean, I remember very specifically, I ran my mouth about a kid who I'd known my whole life, right? He was one of the toughest cowboy motherfuckers I had ever met. His whole family was this way. And I made a comment about his girlfriend. And I mean, let's be honest, she was kind of a hoe and it was whatever, but he didn't take it lying down, right? I made an offhanded comment to one of his friends. It got back to him. I'm sitting in ag class my freshman year. So I'm a freshman in high school. This kid's a sophomore. He walked in first to class. First thing out of his mouth was, I got a bone to pick with you. And we went right there. And he slapped the shit out of me. Now, I couldn't hide from that. I couldn't say, I didn't say that, right? No, I mean, I had to own it. I got my ass kicked. And then years later, I ran into him because we ran in different circles. I played sports. He did rodeo. But years later, I ran into him and he says, hey, you remember that time that this all happened and whatever? He says, I just wanted to apologize. That I was a dumb kid and this and that. And same, kind of same thing, shook his hand and we're cool. 10 years later, there's still a respect factor that I didn't run away from the dude. I took my lumps and, we were able to squash whatever. But the internet has created, you can say, it's like Mike Tyson flat out said, too many people are comfortable with running their mouth and not getting slapped in the face, period.
100%. And all of us growing up in our generation know that we can say shit and you can, even if you can't back it up, you could take a fucking punch. We just know this shit. While you're telling that story, every single guy that ever, because I was the bullied in high school, but every fucking guy that I stood up to, it's like shit. You instantly gain their respect, and it's like I don't know where the fuck we lost respect, right? I don't want people to love me. I don't want them to fear me, but I sure want them to fucking respect me. But we don't have that, and for the love, and in my former industry, cops are the fucking worst at that. I was talking to somebody else about that with all the guys who hide behind the blue line fake profiles online, and they talk shit because their department policy doesn't let them. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you fuck you. It's the worst cocksuckers on the planet. All right, it is Friday. I've only had 2 cups of coffee, so we'll see how this goes. Let's do some housekeeping first here. Plug whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're what are you working on now? What's the projects going on your end of the spectrum?
So big thing I'm running. My fiance, soon to be wife, getting married next weekend. We talked about that last time we moved the wedding. Anyways, she and I are part of a movement where we are trying to bring our dollars home. And I know a lot of people are doing the bring your dollars home, whatever company they may do, but for the last 6 months I've been working on, I've had enough of big box retailers, right? I've had enough money, or enough giving my money to Amazon, giving my money to Target, giving my money to Walmart, wherever it may be, and then watching them turn around and install whichever politician they want, and it fucks us over. Now, I ain't saying that we're ever going to be able to stop using big retailers, but we can take a big chunk of that away from them. We can bring it back home. We can put those dollars back in our pocket. And the people that I work with, they have a program that it's not multi-level marketing. I know that's what you do, but it's affiliate marketing, so it's similar. That the more you shop, the more people that you bring in your circle, the more money you put back in your own pocket, the more money you save. You may save it through getting a check back every month. You might save it on a kickback of percentage on what you spend, but it's geared around making sure that more dollars stay in your pocket and the things you buy go further with the money you spend.
And if people want to get involved with you, what's the best way that they can wind up getting in touch with you?
Link in my bio. Whether you go to see me on my three main platforms are Clapper, TikTok, which I'm shadow banned like a mother right now, and Instagram. Just click on it. Says all my links. It's a link tree. It's the top link in my bio. Fill out your information. One of my people will get in touch with you. And if you do fill it out, they will call you. It is not a sales call. It's not a spam call. It's not a robocall. It's a real human being like you and I that work for me, that we pay, that are calling you because you gave us your information. So please have the decency to pick up the fucking phone and give them 5 minutes of your time. If you're not interested, don't fill it out. I don't give a shit. Pretty simple.
And your platforms are Amazing Bearded Wonder, right?
Amazing Bearded Wonder. Yeah, there's different variations, but it's amazing_bearded_wonder on Instagram. Official Bearded Wonder, I believe, is what I am right now on TikTok. And then Clapper, it's Amazing Bearded Wonder. All the platforms are 100,000 plus followers. So if you see, there's a lot of fakes out there. So if you jump into one that's 500 followers or private, none of my shit's ever private. I'm never going to DM you and ask you to invest in some crypto shit. I'm never going to ask you to send me your money, to bail my grandma out of, whatever's going on in the Middle East with ISIS. She's not a prisoner. So 100,000 plus followers. I have 3 main accounts. That's how you find me.
Have you had the problem yet? I've had this at least a dozen times over the last, it's been about 5 years. Have you had the older women yet who DM you and they're pissed at you because some guy named Dave Bearded Wonder told them a sob story and got them to send them $5,000 after you've been in the military and you work for the government? I'm like, that's not me. That's not me.
Oh yeah. I actually had a lady's husband reach out to me and want to beat my ass because his old lady, who they were separated, had been messaging me and had sent me some money to help the plight of my children. And I'm like, wow, y'all haven't paid attention to my shit. I've been with the same girl for the last 2 years. I mean, we've had a couple of breaks on and off, but yeah, I ain't talking to anybody's thing. But,
it happens.
My girl's watching this right now. She's messaging me and said, hey, give him the website for the.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what the fuck the website is. There's a link in my bio. I don't fucking know what my own website is.
Go Amazing Bearded Wonder on Instagram. Go check out the variants as well too. And that happened to John Burke. Somebody, it's happened to me a dozen times, and it's always older ladies. And I'm like, well, I always end the conversation. Well, if you want to send me money or nudes, go right ahead. I'm fucking whatever. But haven't had any success with that yet. Poor John Burke had that the other couple months ago. Some woman DM'd me because she saw me talking back and forth with John, and she goes, he's not who he says he is, and goes on this massive, just like, he says he's this. I'm like, lady, that's not it. And she did not believe. I'm like, I'm telling you flat out, I'm vouching for him. You're being scammed. And I explained to her what happened to me. And these people are so damn good so damn good at like convincing you, because they'll steal our pictures, steal our videos, post them up there. They'll get to know, like some woman said, well, I know your niece's name. And I'm like, yeah, that's my niece's name. Well, yeah, I guess this guy's name was John, or John Izzo. And I'm like, no, it's not me. And oh yeah, your niece is this. I'm like, oh fuck this dude. So I mean, when you hit that status, I think that's a pretty good benchmark. Be like, hey, I think I made it in the internet world.
I had a lady who I met in person in a rodeo in Evanston, Wyoming, the Labor Day rodeo. Her son was raising money to go to the Junior Nationals in Vegas. Okay, met this woman, did some promotion for her son, helped him raise some money, sent him to Vegas. A year later, she messages me, hey, whatever happened to all that money I sent you, and why aren't you talking to me anymore? Now, when I say I met this lady, he had my personal cell phone number, which I do not give out to anybody. And I'm talking to her back and forth. So she's messaging me on my Instagram. I said, wait a minute. This is you, right? Yes, your son is this person. Yes. I said, hang on a minute. I said, do you still have my phone number? And she said, well, yeah. I said, hold on. I call her on the phone. I said, what in the fuck are you talking about? Well, we've been talking back and forth, and I sent you all this personal information, and I sent you money, and I showed you, my whole body. And I'm like, why the fuck would you not call me on the phone and ask me if that was real? It wasn't a thing. And when I met the lady, I was dating a girl. So this was 3 or 4 years ago. I was dating a different girl. She met the girl that I was dating. And I'm like, you knew I was dating somebody. Why the fuck would you fall down this hole? It doesn't matter if they're married, if they're single, whatever. And I know you run into this too. People are so desperate and starved for attention that they look past all the fucking red flags. And in their mind, if they believe it's this person, it doesn't matter what you're going to say. Like this lady that ran it all over your page. In her mind, that's who it was. And it was the gospel truth, and nothing was going to change her mind, because she was convinced that that's the way it was.
We know that bitches are crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, ladies.
We're all crazy.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Those are my words. Those are not his. Let's get a little. What is the website too, by the way? BigCorporateSucks.com.
That's what it is. BigCorporateSucks.com. Thank you. Yeah. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, BigCorporateSucks.com. If you're listening on the podcast or whatnot, or if you're listening on a replay, watching on a replay, it's BigCorporateSucks.com. Go and support Joe and everything he winds up doing. Have you been keeping abreast of the political climate? Because we got to touch on this a little bit. Being an entrepreneur, dad, soon to be husband, do you have any concerns, if you will, about the current direction our country is headed? And if so, how are you preparing your household?
I mean, let's just be honest, man. Politically, it doesn't matter, right? I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care who the fuck they're going to put in there. Shit's going to go sideways, period. So we can sit and do this infighting back and forth and say, well, look, Trump took Iowa and he didn't even show the fuck up, and DeSantis is this, and it's all one big fucking game. And for y'all to get sucked into it and not pay attention to the other shit that's happening, you're going to get caught with your pants around your ankles, and it ain't going to be pretty. The thing that we need to pay attention to right now is the fact that I've been harping on this for 3 years. We have a wide open southern border. Any motherfucker can walk across that border unchecked. Don't know where they're from, don't know what their agenda is, don't know what they want to do to us. We've had almost 12 million people cross that border over the last several years, right? 12 million. We had more people cross the border last year than there were new births in our country.
That's the state of Illinois' population, just to let you know.
Yeah. So there you go. So you got the population of the state of Illinois. Now, yeah, there's a few kids, there's a few women, but by and large, the majority of what's crossing our border are fighting age males, 20 to 30.
Now here's my this was was my argument in defense of them months ago. I have since kind of amended my position and said, shit, I don't know about that. Now, when my great grandparents came here from Italy, that's what they did. They sent the men who were between 13 and 18 here, they established jobs, then they sent for the wives and the kids, right? So I went, well, you can't say that. And my other exposure is when I was a cop, I worked in a town that was 60% Hispanic, and I saw the Hispanic community, which are the hardest fucking working motherfuckers on the planet. But these were the people from there, right? And I'm going, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this. And the more time goes on, I'm going, I don't know if I'm correct about that anymore. I don't know if that's what they're sending over here.
And let me kind of jump on with that too. So again, I grew up in a small farming community in Idaho. Potatoes are the cash crop, right? That's all there is. Every single one of my neighbors, every single one of my uncles, every single one of my family members that ran farms had migrant workers come and work for them. And by and large, it was the husbands and the sons that came over, worked for 9 months, and then would go home for 3 months. They'd live in a small cinder block building. They'd put 10 of them in there. They'd send all the money that they could back to their families, and then over time they worked on bringing their wives and the rest of their children home. And by home, I mean to Idaho. Now, my very best friends growing up were straight. They came across the border illegally with their dads. They worked their asses off. They were the hardest working motherfuckers I ever met. They were some of the best, kindest, most humble people I ever met. That's not what's coming across our border. Similar. My family are just like everybody else, immigrated to this country. Living in Idaho and Utah, my family were part of the Mormon pioneers that came across. So I understand sending the men to go and build a better life. This is not what we're seeing. We are seeing men come across this border and finding children who have had a fucking train run on them with 30 different sets of DNA in them. We're seeing cells of individuals that are not Hispanic, that are CCP, that are Middle Eastern, that are from areas that want to do harm to our country. Now, let's be honest. If the people from Mexico who want to do harm to our country were going to come across the border, we'd fucking know about it. The cartels would come across our border and do the shit over here that they do down there.
I don't think they want to cause harm to our country because we're cash crops for them. We're both an opportunity for employment for them, and we're their market. They pump their drugs here. I don't think the Mexicans want to do damage to us.
It's not who it is. And the more that you look at it, people, you go to Mexico and they don't get out of the resort towns. It's dangerous for Americans. Yeah, I understand that. But they're not coming here and fucking our shit up because, like you said, there's a fentanyl crisis in our country and it's coming through our southern border unchecked. It's a cash crop. They're not fucking with that shit. They're not messing with their money. They know where they are making their coin and they are pushing that. What's coming across our border are people who want to do us harm and who can do us harm, and they're being installed systematically across our country. So that being said, I don't give a fuck what happens in politics. Guns, ammo, food, and a way to sustain energy and water is the shit you better be working on. And if you're not, it's going to go real bad, real fucking fast. And your homeboy next door ain't going to be able to protect you.
People don't get that it doesn't matter if they're liberal or they're conservatives when I'm talking about when the world goes to shit. It's like, I don't care what political side you're on. I live in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. I'm 20 minutes outside the city. I live in a cul-de-sac, and it is so liberal. I am 5 houses down from Senator Tammy Duckworth, who is a massive Democrat, but she's so fucking nice. I don't like her policies at all, but she's a war hero who lost both her fucking legs and served this country better than I did. I've got liberal neighbors to my left who are from India, liberal neighbors across from me who are literally from Poland. A woman who just died, she was a liberal white who couldn't stand me. But all of us, it doesn't matter. We're outside. We're mowing the lawn, you're smoking cigars, all that shit. Everybody gets along very, very well. So it doesn't matter how loud I'm barking online about who I support presidentially wise, when that EMP hits and all the fucking, handheld devices go out, I'm going to remember how well my neighbor treated me, and I don't give a shit their fucking socialist ideology. If you come to my town, I'm going to wind up defending them. Conversely, I don't give a fuck if you're conservative. If you were a piece of shit, and my family's starving and you got bread, guess what, motherfucker? You didn't take me seriously when I said what my capabilities are. I will be kicking in your door and taking your bread. You don't get it. I don't think that people get that for all the tough talk online, there are several of us who are capable. There's more than several. There's too many of us who are more than capable of doing the necessary violence that you need to in order to sustain life, but we don't want to. We don't want to. I tell people all the time, you want a good documentary on what happens, watch The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead was not about zombies. It was about what happens when the world goes to fucking shit. And sadly, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want civil war. I don't want this. But at the same time, too, I know exactly what I'm capable of. And I don't ever want to be put to that point. But I don't know. I do not know if this is all a psyop, as the kids say, to get us all amped up about it, or if within 10 years this is really going to happen.
I mean, let's just be honest. We can what if everything that's going on, right? What if that, WEF's doing their new thing talking about disease X? What if they're going to wipe out a third of the planet? Maybe. What if they're really systematically, coming in to dismantle us from inside with those who want to do us harm? Maybe. What if this is all just a matrix thing and we're all plugged into a computer and it's all an algorithm running the world? Maybe. Who the fuck knows? But honestly, I see what I see. And the reality of it is I would rather be prepared, because I've seen people be desperate, and it doesn't matter who the fuck you are. When desperation hits, everything that is good and decent and humane about you will be fucking gone. When survival kicks in, and that is all that you were worried about, everything else doesn't matter.
No, humanity. Your humanity is gone. I think one of the reasons that we got to this point was that I remember it. I remember in 2020, Trump's going to fix everything. I voted. I sat back on my ass. I didn't do anything, and I think that lack of action is exactly why we got to where we got. And then the government knows this, because you had January 6th was just a fucking joke, but you have people who are paying with their lives for it now. They're going to prison for the next 18 some odd years. So I watched Breitbart. Breitbart's an infamous one, or it doesn't matter what conservative news is. Headlines sell, right? Breaking, exclusive, shocking, and Peter Navarro, I guess, was just sentenced to 4 months in prison. He's a Trump advisor, and for denying or disobeying a congressional subpoena. So, of course, they put that story out there, and I'm just looking at the thread, the streams of conservative commentators going, "This is bullshit. What about Hunter Biden? Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, how many more of these stories, which are there? If they put out 3 a day, and that's over 1,000 a year, how many of these unfair stories are you going to continue to comment about instead of doing what the left does, which is riot in the fucking streets? If you're so tired, again, about this 2-tiered justice system and Hunter Biden gets off, but fucking somebody else doesn't, well, guess what? Truly, unless you're willing to be one of the first people that gets dropped by the Secret Service or whatever, and clear the path for everybody else to wind up charging the castle, FBI, I don't need you knocking at my door. Nothing's going to change. So I think, and I always say this for entertainment purposes only, I do not want this to happen. I have no interest in partaking of this right now. The only way to get things back on track is not violence, but a fucking credible threat of violence. If our government knew that, there may be a change.
Maybe, but what did Biden also say a couple years ago? You want to rise up and come after us, motherfucker? We got jets and bombs. We'll fuck your shit up. And he's not wrong. Mm-hmm. So if there's going to be a credible threat of violence, that credible threat of violence has to come from within the government and the military ourselves. And unless that happens,
it's not going to happen. They're too busy being fed on you get our military on TikTok, right? I've never seen law enforcement and military now be allowed to be individuals in such a way. It sucks, man. It was myself, Mike the cop, Officer, I think Woodward, and a few others. We were the ones who started the cop shit social media crap. Now every fucking cop in the world has got to be a bikini competitor or a comic and do this kind of crap, whatever it is. They're all individuals. And we saw what happened in 2020. They blew away their fucking constitutional oath and said, well, you got a mask, you got to leave, or I'm going to arrest you. I think law enforcement and the military, they've been bought, right? Meaning that, hey, we're going to keep taking care of you. We're going to treat you fucking just make sure that you do exactly what we say, and the citizen is the enemy. I don't think it's ever going to come from within them because they're massively compromised.
100%. But that's my point. They have the training, they have the firepower, they have the means to handle any sort of threat that comes their way. I don't give a shit if you're part of the crazy militia hanging out in the middle of northern Idaho or Montana or wherever the fuck you're at. You may have some firepower, but when they've got drones rolling through, dropping shit on your fucking head, you're an ant. You ain't gonna do shit. And that's the problem, right? Until we have something within that changes, there's no such thing as a credible threat. And those in power know it. Now, if 300 million people revolt and say, we're coming after you, we're armed, we're this, is that a credible threat? Well, yeah, because at that point now, you can only hold back a wave so long. But you're talking the majority of a country has to have a massive change in their mind and has to find a set of balls that does not fucking exist in the masses any longer in our country. And it's not going to fucking happen. This isn't 1776 where the 3% can go and stand and all of our neighbors are going to sit there and go, oh, cool, look what's happening. This is the 3% is going to go and get wiped the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then the military is going to say, you see what happened to them?
Yep.
Government's going to say, you see what happened to them? Get in line, motherfucker. And we already saw what happened 4 years ago with get in line, motherfucker.
Yeah, January 6th proved that the government, they don't give a shit about anything other than keeping the fucking little kids in line. I have sick fantasies, if you will, and I'm not talking about the midget with the horse in the barn, but you're talking about your dead neighbor that died of a heart attack because she sent you all that money, you son of a bitch. That would have been great if only she'd send me nudes first, selfish bitch. I have these sick fantasies where I'm like, where I go, because of how vocal I am with law enforcement, I know that I get a lot of cops who slide in my DMs and like, man, I can't say what you say, but you're right. But I get a shit ton who fucking hate me. And I like daydream all the time. It's like, shit, what am I going to do the day that a diversity hire who can't fucking fight their way out of a wet paper bag has a fucking hard on for me because they see they're behind me, they pull me over, and I know the law, I know what they're doing, and I know what's going to happen. I go into a very weird, like I could feel it physically happening the day that a cop decides to say, put your hands behind your back. I don't know what I would do because I don't trust our government. I don't trust our local police. And I'm like, my God, would I resist? And if I resisted, they're all going. You're going to need to get a shit ton of backup. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to look like an aerated lawn with fucking, 40 caliber rounds just pumped all over me. I hate the fact that I lived in a great world of go to the gym, ride your motorcycle, have sex with just very, very perverted, kinky women, eat pizza, watch movies, do whatever you want. And now I got to stress out about man, if the world does go to shit, all right, I got the forest preserve behind me, got a shit ton of deer there. I got to learn how to skin a squirrel. I hate the fact that I just can't enjoy life. And part of me does blame our side, conservatives, for sitting back on our hands and trying to let the one savior of Trump come in and fix shit when it's not going to happen.
Look, man, Trump's a businessman. He did some good things. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not pro or anti, anybody at this point that's trying to make our world a better place. I'm of the opinion. Let's sit back and see what they do. Did he do a good job? Sure, but he's one motherfucking dude. Like he's not going to get reinstalled, and everything's just going to magically get fixed. It isn't. I mean, if the conservatives think that he's going to drain the swamp.
No, he's not.
We've held the House for the last 3 fucking years as conservatives, as Republicans, and not a fucking thing's been done. So what, you're telling me one dude's going to get installed in one branch of our government and he's going to magically fix the other 2 and all the shit going on in our country? It's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to change anything other than the fact that he's exposed what's gone on. They're all in it to fucking together. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're Libertarian. I don't care who the fuck you are. If you're in the government, those 500 individuals are all homies.
Mm-hmm.
And we are all the means to their end. It's here's the way that this just follow me. It's a stretch, so just follow me on this. I'm watching a documentary the other night on Malice in the Palace. Okay. And I remember that very well. Ron Artest, shit blowing up. Oh my hell, look at these crazy, individuals in sports. Now they're interviewing Jermaine O'Neal and they're interviewing Steven Jackson and they're interviewing these guys. And the first comment they made was, what the fans don't realize is we're jawing back and forth at each other, but we are all friends. The Pistons didn't hate the Pacers. The Pacers didn't hate the Pistons. These dudes played basketball together as friends in the offseason. They were there to provide entertainment. It's the players versus the fans. It's the same fucking thing. The government are all friends. They're all in it together. Their lobbyists run it all. They're all homies. They got each other's back. You're going to have 1 or 2 that don't get in line, and they will find their way out. And I don't give a shit if you put Trump back in until he can radically change term limits, till he can radically change lobbyists, till he can radically change corporations owning our government. Nothing's going to fucking change. Period.
Saw that with Ted Cruz again yesterday, coming up with his Democrats don't give a damn what's that. And I'm like, great. Another soundbite. When are you going to do shit about anything?
Right? What's he doing to change it? Everybody's bitched for the last however, and Hunter Biden this, and Joe Biden this, and they're dirty, and AOC this, and on and on and on and on and on. Have you seen? Has he been impeached?
No.
We've got fucking proof the laptop is real. Hunter's wandering around free as a motherfucker, still doing hookers and blow, totally fine. And they're not going to impeach Biden. They don't give a fuck because he is sending how much money through their laundromat that they're all benefiting from?
Dude, I don't
to change that.
I don't like. My father is still alive, and thank God. I hope he lives till he's at least 99. And my father runs the family. If my father was giving money, like let's just say every single day he was giving $100 to a fucking crack addict, there would be a problem. I would say, hey, Dad, I'm sorry. There's something you want to explain to me what's going on. And if he can't explain that, well, no, he's taking it to the track to me and he's making double coming. Oh, okay, so you're making money. But if he can't explain what he's doing, then I'm like, Dad, I'm sorry, I got to take over. How do we have this head of the household with Biden continually giving more money to a shit like I was fuck Ukraine? I do not, people, you don't care what's happening in Ukraine. You don't care what's happening in Gaza and Israel. I don't give a rat fuck what happens 6,000 miles away from me when my own city, 20 minutes from me, is being overrun by migrants, blacks who can't stop killing one another, and fucking a Democrat socialist mayor who wants to blame whites for every problem they have in the city. We can't fix that shit. But we have this. We're going to send another X amount of $1 billion to Ukraine. Why? This is a literal, like, I don't understand this. Why is somebody not grabbed Joe, sat him down, and said, we need a medical evaluation right now. This man has to be forcibly removed from office. Now, I know it's not just him, because we have these doddering old cunts who are still running the show in Congress and the Senate. I don't get this.
Why are they not?
Because it's our fault. We're letting them keep doing it.
They don't want to. They're fine with him being the scapegoat. Dude doesn't know what the fuck's going on. They're still sending the money. We're all focused on Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't know what fucking day of the week it is. He's standing there taking all these barbs, taking all the bullets, while they're over here doing all this shit, and they're all benefiting from it. That's why nobody's doing anything about it. Because when they remove him and the focus shifts elsewhere, now they've got to figure out, how do we continue this gravy train we've got without the American people any wiser of what's happening?
What's the answer? Come on, you're the amazing bearded wonder. What the fuck is the answer?
Well, like I said, until the majority of people see what's happening and are willing to get out of their little comfort bubble, nothing's going to happen. We're all going to sit on the internet. We're all going to run our mouths. We're all bad as fuck until it's sitting us, right here in the face. What do you got to do? Stand up. Oh, no, I'm good. I say this to my followers all the time because, I will champion different causes. Put your money where your motherfucking mouth is. Stand the fuck up. Put your money where your mouth is. It's easy to sit there and say, oh, I would. All right, you've been called out. Will you? 90% of them ain't gonna do shit.
No, I love it. I do have that card in my back pocket. Everyone's like, "Oh, why don't you do something?" And I'm like, I ran for sheriff. In Chicago, second largest county in the nation, for my first political position, and I got exposed to the most vile, disgusting, evil side of humanity in politics. My family was completely fucking attacked. I lost more, air quotes, friends that I know that I could count. It's like, I already did that shit. I'm at the point now that leave me alone. I'm an independent. I will support whatever I think is best for the country. But I'm at the point where now, unless it requires physical action, don't call me to come speak at your rally. Don't call me to come support this. Don't call me because none of that fucking shit works. None of it does.
No, and until we actually organize and deploy, nothing's going to change.
That's the other problem now, because what the internet did create is a bunch of people who think that because they rant, their numbers went through the roof, and I single him out all the time because personally I cannot stand him for what he did to myself and another network I was on. Stu Peters, when he was a rapper and then a bounty hunter. He came and did radio with our network, and he shit on our network. He got us fired off of iHeartRadio. Now he's this unbelievable, extreme, right-wing fucking lunatic. And the problem I have is he's a genius because he has millions of supporters who, when the dust settles, you're going to have Stu Peters this and maybe somebody else over here and somebody else over here. Everybody leans right, but after the left is wiped out, so to speak, now we got to deal with these separate factions because there is no unity on anything. I honestly think it's one of those, be careful what you wish for, because when you do cut the head off the Hydra, you're going to get 17 more that pops up. But now it's like, well, this is even fucking worse.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You've got your crazy, liberal lefties, whatever you want to call them, but they're a minority. The problem is your silent majority, right? Your right wing, your Republicans. There's so many varying degrees of these motherfuckers, and their level of crazy. And I've had it in my own comments with my own people. The level of crazy that comes out of the conservatives and the right wing, in a lot of ways, far surpasses the mental illness of the fucking left that we're dealing with 11-7 pronouns. Just, you've touched on this before, okay? And I will let me start this by saying I believe in God. I am Christian. I believe the Bible. But you look at the Christian denominations and the different factions just in Christian Judeo-Christianity, none of those are united. They're fucking all against each other. So, but they all claim conservatism, right? Mm-hmm. We shut down the left, and now you're not religious enough. You believe this, you believe this, you believe this. And now we got a fucking religious war of a bunch of motherfuckers who all claim to believe the same thing and follow the same individual, yet none of them can get along. It's
I compare this a lot because I'm in the martial arts community, and I teach something called Wing Chun, and it was Bruce Lee's first art. And for those who don't know, I'm not a fan of Bruce Lee, never was. Bruce Lee, he studied in the martial art that I've been studying for 28 years, for 3 years. Came to America, and then he bastardized it, and he died. And his wife, Linda, took all of his notes, turned them into a book, and now you've got 17,000 different factions of Jeet Kune Do practitioners who, well, Bruce Lee meant this, and Bruce Lee meant that. You're wrong, I'm wrong. It's the same damn thing with the Christians, with the open interpretation with the Bible. And this Christian nationalism, your views are your views. I don't ever want to make anybody uncomfortable, and clearly you're not uncomfortable. But I saw last night on Twitter, there was somebody with blue check mark, 30,000 people on their account, and this post is completely Jew. It's Jew and gay, and I'm like, when the fuck do all the if you're not on Twitter, stay the fuck off. There are more conservatives who are just
fucking sewer.
Oh, it's
a fire.
I actually had to. I have a weekly call with my mentor and a pastor, and I'm like, dude, I'm drained. I'm like, I cannot believe how fucking much negative energy I feel from reading from conservatives who are Christians who are openly attacked. Like the word Jew, they may as well be fucking dropping the N-bomb on Twitter with how often they use Jew and how often they attack the gays. I had Lola Christina on with me yesterday, and great guest, fucking one of my favorite. She is one of my favorite fucking people on the planet. She's trans. Fucking, and I got people, oh, he's not a conservative. He had a trans co-host with him. I'm like, dude, this fucking person's better than you'll ever be. I am so, it's the conservative Christians are the worst fuckers on the planet.
Oh, they're the most judgmental, holier than thou, better than everybody, know everything. And I don't claim to be a scholar of the Bible by any means. I mean, I grew up in a Christian household. We studied the Bible. I can spit you some verses. I can argue with you. But at the end of the day, your interpretation is your motherfucking interpretation. And doesn't matter what I say, what has been ingrained in you from the time that you were little until now, I'm not going to change that. So you believe what you want to believe. I'm going to believe what I want to believe. But how about at the end of the day, you just be a good fucking human? I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care if you're orange. I don't care. Don't fucking diddle little kids and be a good human. That's fucking easy.
I don't know about you, but my parents growing up, again, we're the same generation. My parents were polar opposites. My father, staunch Republican, and my mother, until Obama, was a Democrat. And they were married until the day she died. It's like, I don't get this where your political ideology, and I lose numbers it's always 1,000, right? Anytime I question Trump, hey, I'm not a fan of what Trump is doing, it's immediately, you're a DeSantis supporter. It's like, where did I say that? And then, boom, 1,000 fucking people unfollow me online. And I'm like, this is insane.
Who cares if you're a DeSantis supporter? Aren't they on the same fucking team? Team Republican, right? The same fucking team. What's the issue?
Well, the issue is you don't go hard enough, right? The issue is now it is the bread and circuses to where I do like, and I'm not gonna deny it. I told somebody a couple months ago, I said, I purposely burned bridges by doing this show 5 years ago because I never wanted to go back to work for anybody else. I knew that if I went back into law enforcement, I couldn't say what I'm saying. If I went to Home Depot and I applied for GM of a store, they're going to look at my social media and go, no, it's not going to fucking happen. So I purposely burnt my boats so that as an entrepreneur, I would have no choice but to fucking succeed. So I say exactly what I want to say. And at times, because of my delivery, it's so fucking intense. People are like, yeah. But the second I go, yeah, that's what I'm feeling and I'm saying, and I amp up my personality for entertainment purposes. But I really do believe in being kind to everybody. Oh, fuck you, pussy. Fuck you, cowards. Holy shit. We are conservatives. And this goes back to my original statement at the beginning of the show. I think conservatives are so fucking bloodthirsty because they've sat on their hands. They don't have anywhere to channel this anger. So now they're going to be fucking targeting everybody else.
That's exactly it. And here's the thing, dude. Like I said, I don't care who the hell you are. I am kind to you until you give me a reason otherwise. And when you give me a reason otherwise, motherfucker, game on. And I don't care. I don't care if you're family. I don't care if you're a complete stranger. I will have your back and I will go to the end of the earth for you as long as you were good to me. But the minute you cross me, No, I ain't fucking playing with you anymore.
Do you have sons?
Yeah, I have 3 of them. Well, I'm getting married, and again, I don't, I've been with these kids for 2 years, so I have 4 of them.
Yeah.
I've got a 3-year-old, I have an 18-year-old, I have a 15-year-old, and I have a 9-year-old.
You're in that position to where that saying does the circular, good times create soft people. You're in that position now where you have to be creating hard men, and that's a massive responsibility. I'm not going to lie. That has to probably feel good knowing that you don't have to hold back and you could be a fucking man and instill masculine virtues on boys who are going to grow up and lead the country.
But here's the deal with that. It's a fine line, right? Because as a parent, and I understand this now, I always heard my dad and mom say, I want you to have better than I do. But having better than I had growing up doesn't mean giving you every motherfucking thing under the sun. And I made that mistake. My 18-year-old is a great kid. I love the kid. He's got a huge heart. But I enabled the fuck out of this kid. My 23-year-old works hard, went out on his own, has provided for himself, has got his own little family, he's doing good. My 18-year-old is starting to figure it out. Because you have to instill this in them and create hard times. But that also means allowing them to have a hard time. My kid, he's 18, he's moved out, he's kind of going through some shit. He called me last night and told me some of the stuff that was happening. And on one hand, the dad side of me, he's like, fuck, you know what? I could throw some money at him. I can solve this problem. We're good. On the other side of me, he's like, no, I got to let motherfucker figure it out. He has to have his own hard time to create strength in his world. And I just got to hope that I showed him enough growing up that he can nut up and do what he needs to do and doesn't become a drain on the fucking society.
How awesome is that, man? That's just, I'm not a parent. I don't want kids, and I don't have the balls to raise kids in this society. Plus, I'm almost 50, so I'm no, that's not going to fucking happen. I can't keep up with my 4-year-old niece. It blows me away seeing the position you guys are in, and we're in a real time. It's not like, in a couple generations, we're in that real time where, I know everyone likes to use the word, I'm a warrior. No, you're creating and forging those fucking warriors as time goes ahead. It's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, it's hard, man. And drawing that fine line, that hard love line, the older my kids get and the more they, as kids, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old, it's a little easier, you got a little more compassion and love, and okay, you give them, but the older they get and seeing the shit they go through, it's created this whole different level of respect for my mom and dad for when I was struggling, and they basically said, no, fuck you, figure it out. And at the time I was pissed as hell, right? How dare you? You're my parent. That's your job. No, my job is to prepare you for when you get to this, that you can fucking get through to the other side and I don't have to bail your ass out. That is the difficult challenge.
Fucking fantastic. Amazing Bearded Wonder. This hour always flies by way too much. Plug everything. Where can people support you, connect with you, follow your ideals, or slide in your DMs and tell you to fuck off because you were their favorite, but now they're unfollowing you? Where can they do all that?
You find me on IG. You can find me on News Clapper or Clapper, and you can find me on TikTok. Amazing Bearded Wonder. On Instagram, Amazing Bearded Wonder on Clapper. On TikTok, I believe I'm Official Bearded Wonder right now. Little over 100,000 followers on my main account on TikTok. 140 something thousand followers on Instagram. 160,000 something followers on Clapper. If you find accounts that are less than that, they're not me. Yes, I have a couple of backups. I don't post on them. I haven't for a hot minute. All of my accounts are public. I don't hide private shit out there. I ain't going to DM you for money. I can't remember the name of my website. You'll have to spit it out again. I have people that build
BigCorporateSucks.com. BigCorporateSucks.com.
Beautiful fiance runs that side of our business, but yeah, come find me, man.
All right, ready? Here's the question of the day, though. We're gonna do this one. Asteroid's about to hit the Earth, right? And only you could save us. Only you could save us. You get two options. You got to fully lights on with everybody. It's going to be televised and broadcast all over the place. You have to have full on, like, passionate, intimate sex with Nancy Pelosi. or you sock Sean Whalen in the fucking jaw.
Oh, that's an easy option, man.
Yeah.
Sean, bare knuckle calling, bitch. Let's fucking go.
Oh, maybe we'll get into that next time. We got to have you back more often. Love this. All right, guys, go check out and support Amazing Bearded Wonder. BigCorporateSucks.com. I love when this has been a great damn week with all you awesome people, and we couldn't have closed out a better Friday show without somebody as fantastic as Joe. All right, guys, have a great damn day. Go to Spreely.tv. Check out the other shows out there like Report and Opine. Eric's going to be on with us Monday. The Dumb Show, Don't Unfriend Me Show, Burn Pit Podcast, Wake Up America, Shannon Joy Show, a whole shit of free speech. Go to your app store on whatever fucking phone you have. Download Freedom Hub, all one word, Freedom Hub. You get a social media platform there. You can say whatever you want, watch shows, podcasts, all that shit. Have a great damn weekend. Go out and help somebody. And if you can't help them, just don't fucking hurt them. See you guys on Monday.